And we are live. Hello, hi everyone. Good evening from my end here. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are watching us from. Happy New Year and welcome once again to the Amamasin Network. Today is our first session for this year, and we are privileged to have a brother here who is into so many things. So today we are going to learn a lot: IT, entrepreneurship, social media, and any other thing in between. Get your questions ready, share the link with your friends, and engage. Before we start, I will let him introduce himself to us and tell us what he does and the many things that he is into. So over to you, guest.
All right. Good evening, viewers. Greetings to you all. Happy New Year. Christmas mood is over, so New Year mood. My name is Wisdom, for short. So, usually in Ghana, when I mention Wisdom, a lot of people think maybe I'm Ewe or I come from the Volta region. But unfortunately, I have to explain where I come from, which is a story for another day. So, I am into IT, information technology. I do a lot of things. I design websites for people. I do digital marketing, like Google Ads. So I run Google Ads for people who have businesses and they want to advertise their businesses, their websites, or their services on Google. Also, I run and manage Facebook or social media campaigns on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and also third-party websites like Quora, which is an answer-based website or forum. um, I design graphics. I'm not an expert in graphic design, but yes, it's part of some of the things that I do. And in major, I am an IT project management manager, so I do a lot of consultancy for small businesses, to be precise, because my main focus is more of small and medium businesses until I get to the higher table where I can consult for big enterprises like, let's say, Microsoft, hopefully one day, or become also a big enterprise and consult for my own enterprise. So yeah, in a nutshell, this is what I do. I build websites, I do digital marketing, campaign management, social media marketing and management, and consultancy in general.
Wow, that's interesting. We should be having
Yes,
you here more often so that you share with us some of these things that you do.
yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
today
I
we
am
want
always
to,
available. Hmm.
that definitely we will invite you again. So today we want to talk about technology and children. We know
Hmm.
that today, because of the workload, women are working, men are working. So most of
Hmm.
the times we don't have enough time or attention for the children. And now
Yeah.
the escape point is with technology. You know, when you want to run away from them, you just give them your phone, you give them your tablets, you give them your computer, play video games, do this, do that. So now the technology or these technological devices are now like some kind of babysitters
Hmm.
helping us with the kids. But then, are we safe? Are we safe to leave our children in the hands of technology? You are into these kind of things. Do you think that our children are safe?
That is a very good question, which is it has a no endless answer, but to an extent, I will give a better insight. So, like you said, sometimes when you want to escape the children, you give them your tablet, your phone, and more especially when they are crying, I guess. So they become these devices have become like the digital nanny. So instead of a
Mhm.
physical nanny taking care of them, it has become a digital nanny where, either they watch cartoons, play games, or follow like e-learning tutorials, etc. Um, so everything has the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. for technology itself, we are in the era of technology. It has come to stay. It has always been part of human evolution. Before I dive deep into the main answer, growing up as a kid, my parents didn't really have the luxury. Even if they had, um, buying a phone back in the 2000s was very expensive. Buying a phone back in the 90s were very expensive. Even getting the black and white TVs were very expensive. It wasn't. It was like when you have those things, it was more of like a privilege. Sometimes among your peers, you become like the attention, like the center of attention, where all your colleagues have to come to your home. They watch cartoons,
Mm-hmm.
watch TV with you. You have a specific amount of time where your parents only allow you to watch certain programs, because then we didn't really have enough programs, for children, because we were still in the early stages of what mass adoption when it comes to technology. But fast track to today, uh, in today's 21st century, 2023, which we're in the new year. It has become a thing where on the metro, you will find mothers giving their phones to kids in the buses, private cars at home. These children are using these devices in the schools. It's everywhere. The question of, are we safe? I would say to an extent we are safe. To an extent we are not safe. So which one do you want me to go first? The good side, the safe side, or the unsafe side?
Okay, tell us the negative one and then comfort us with the positive ones.
Okay. Just 1 second. Let me grab water. Sorry.
That's all right. So, if you just joined in, we are talking about technology and children. Are our children safe in the hands of the devices that we give them? Wisdom is here to tell us more about this.
Yeah. Okay. So the
Welcome back.
negative side of it is that um, just like any other device, just like a car, just like any other technology that has been manufactured, it has a good side and bad side. One of the bad side or the negative side is that children within specific age levels or age groups, um, the screens or the duration of time they spend behind the screens is not really good enough, or it's not good at all for their health, for their eyes, um, their mental health as well, because that is very, very, very important, right? Um, the amount of duration that they
How does
spend,
it affect their mental health?
very good
How does
question. Which
spending time on the screen affect their mental health?
good, I will dive into it. So every screen, every whether on the phone, whether on the tablet, whether on the computer, regardless of how modernized the device might be, it emits a certain level of frequency, or what in the tech world or in the digital world you can say wave. So some of these
Okay.
unseen wave, just like your Wi-Fi, we have the 2G network, we have the 3G, we have the 4G, 5G. The differences between these networks are what? The speed of what sending and receiving what information, right? So also for these children, when they sit behind the screens for a very long time, the waves that come out of these electronic devices in a longer duration is not good, because it causes minor fractions of interference in their what thought
Mm,
process.
mm,
Being an African, we understand this proverb that says that what too much of everything is what bad. It
it's
doesn't
bad,
mean
yeah.
that they cannot spend time what on the screens, right? They can, but too much of it is what bad. Um, for now, there is not
So,
enough data.
yeah, I wanted to ask
There
that
is
how much is too much? Because too much
exactly.
could be relative.
Yeah. So that is what I wanted to explain, that at the moment there is not enough data that can really give us a quantitative volume or enough prediction as to um, how many or how much time children between the ages of 1 to 5 have to spend on specific type of what screen sizes, because we have the LCD, we have QLED, we have LCD, we have LED. So we have different type of screens and different type of what technologies behind them, and all of these technologies have what effects. So the type of screen size or the type of technology used in, let's say, iPhone 4 screen might not necessarily be the same type of what technology that is used in iPhone 6, sorry, iPhone 7 or iPhone 8. So it varies. Someone might say, oh yes, but we are advancing, which means what? It gets better. Yes, in every new technology innovation, there is still what? A loophole. There is always still what? A gap. So some of these things which are not really tangible enough are not really looked into, because um, to look into it is a whole ball game altogether. So sometimes a lot of big tech companies, they overlook this. But what the average expectation is that what the parents should what monitor the usage, because it is no longer in their hands when these devices have been what produced and what mass rolled out. There are categories of tablets that are for children, right? So there is still this technology which is okay. There is a study, there is a data to say, okay, this range of product is good for what children between, let's say, 5 to 7 years. Just like you go in the pharmacy and there are certain cough syrups which are for what children only between specific age what
Mm-hmm.
range. So the ingredient for that will be different from somebody who is what from 18 to what 99 years. When you go to the grocery stores and you want to buy a toothpaste, there are toothpaste which taste like a sweet for children, so that they can start learning how to brush their mouth without having to feel the mint, right? So in the same way, there are technology devices which are meant for children within specific age range, but the challenge that we are facing right now is that a lot of parents do not know this. They don't understand. They don't do enough research to say, okay, what exactly can I get for what? My child, right? Everybody is looking for what is the fastest, what has the biggest memory, biggest capacity, good camera, all of that. So you can literally see a parent who buys iPhone 11 for a child of 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. This is meant for what? Adults, right? So
Adult.
it doesn't mean that these children don't deserve to use tech devices. They don't deserve to own a phone, own tablets. Of course not. They do, right? But we are looking at the negative effect of what? The too much time they spend on these devices. So one of the things that I've mentioned is that what spending too much time on these devices, the signals or the waves that are emitted from these screens over time can affect the thought processes of the children. Nothing is perfect, even for adults. There are symptoms. Um, so I remember back in the days, me and my other brother, we went to the eye clinic to get the lens, because we spend a lot of time behind the screen. So sometimes we're in a dark corner, sometimes there is enough light, sometimes there isn't, right? So um, for us to be on the safe side, we have to what get these lenses in order to what protect our own eyes, because we spend more than 8 hours every day behind the screens, whether on our laptop or on a desktop. But even as adults,
No wonder
we've
you are a
realized
90% now.
we've realized that it has long-term what standing effect. So for children, they might within the early stages of their development, this could cause problems for them later on if the usage is not controlled. Um, if you look at what is happening in China right now, as of last year, the government started few crackdowns on the usage of what mobile devices, the time spent on playing games. The government of China is saying that no, we've realized that a lot of kids or young teenagers are spending so much time on what on their mobile phones. So they reduced the government tried to put in a policy to reduce the number of time or number of hours uh, children spend online playing video games. Now in Asia, they like playing video games a lot. Is Asia has, if I'm not mistaken, has one of the biggest gaming industry because they like games. So for the government of China to step in, which has the biggest population in the world, to say no, even though we have more than 1 billion people, there is still what going to be wrong in, let's say, 20 years to come, 30 years to come, when um, the youthful population is not engaged in what more meaningful or offline what activities, because we cannot take away the virtual world, right? So the
Yeah.
only option we have is to combine, the virtual and the physical world, which becomes a hybrid. So much time, or the more time you give to the virtual world, then you put the physical world also into what disadvantage. The more time you spend
Mm.
in the physical world without the virtual world, you put the virtual world also into what more disadvantage. So the number of, or the amount of hours spent on screens by these children in the longer run can affect their thought process. That is number one thing. Yeah. Then the other thing I would want to add is that children, when they are developing between the ages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a lot of cartoons that they watch, they pick up a lot of behavior. They pick up they Sometimes they pick up slangs, um, words, uh, activities, and some of these children, even when they have friends in schools or within the community or neighborhood, and they watch the same similar cartoons, they can start developing this early mindset of um, brotherhood, early mindset of what sense of community. But in the long run, this can develop into something more negative, because in some of these cartoons, of course, there are always the superheroes and the villains, right? Uh, in almost every
Mm-hmm.
society, we play this kind of police and the bad guys kind of games.
The
But
bad
in
guys.
reality, also, some of these things are what being fueled by the things that they see online, because children learn by what seeing, and they try
What
to
they
what
see.
follow. We've all been children before, so we can talk from a place of what experience. Because of this, doesn't mean that they need to stop watching cartoons. No. What needs to happen is that parents need to pay attention to what the children watch, and also pay attention to when there is a possibility or a likelihood of what changing behavior, because it could either be good or worse depending on what the content that the children are what consuming. So this has a very huge potential of what shaping their behavior. And if it is, let's say for example, they pick up a bad behavior and this is overlooked, then it means that this behavior goes into what adulthood, because then it has been what
Adulthood, yeah.
overlooked. Because you have there is no exact formula to like being a perfect parent. So there are parents who are like extremely strict, there are the ones who are strict,
Mm.
and then not strict, and the ones who like don't care at all.
Anything goes.
Not that they don't care at all, but just do whatever you want to do, like different environment, different philosophies, different upbringings, different political agendas, a lot of things that are happening in today, like society in different countries and locations. Everyone's experience is shaped by what, where they are what based in. So the
Mm.
parents who ignore these children or what they watch, it leaves a very negative impact on them. not just also the behavior they pick up, but also it tells the children over time that what you don't really have enough time what for them. You don't even have enough time to check what they are doing. So
Yeah.
this mentality of my mom doesn't care, my dad doesn't care. You might think, oh, their brains are not developed, to that standard, but in actual sense, it is because when you put a 4-year-old and you put the dad and the mom and you ask, who do you want to go with? He's likely to choose one person. That decision
Mm,
he or she will make is based on something. He might not be able to explain it, but between the two adults, they know exactly why the child chose to what?
yeah.
Go either with the mother or either with what? The father, right? So
That's right. Mm,
the experiences surrounding the things that uh, the parents do or the things that the kids watch, the minor, tiny neglects in the long run can also like create problems, not just for the children, but also even between the two parents. I have a son also. So at some point, I saw things that he was picking up from cartoons. Like
mm,
specific type of slangs. They are not bad, but it's not useful neither. Because of course he's watching, he's seeing, he wants to like feel like he's part of the cartoon. Sometimes he wakes up, you ask him, what did you dream about? He tell you, I dream about the robot. And that age, he's still dreaming about what? Robot. It means that what
robots.
he has been consuming subconsciously is what? Is buried in his what? Memories. Because right now, he doesn't really have much exposure. He doesn't have more lived experience like you as a parent. So the only memories, the only exposure he has is what will keep manifested until you are able to guide the child to be able to, like develop further as they grow. So those tiny fraction of time frame of the parents making sure to, check what exactly the kid is watching. Even on YouTube now, YouTube, you can check the history of watched videos.
Yeah.
Yes, you can check history of watched videos. So you might not be actively watching what the kid is watching, but having time to say, no, this cartoons is not good, this is not good, I don't want you to watch these cartoons. They will always ask for explanation, but you don't necessarily have to what explain everything because sometimes it's in their own best interest, right? So
Yeah.
this this tiny neglect can cause problems, not just for the child but also for the parents,
Right.
which is one
Okay.
of the
So
things. Yeah.
so basically, these negative aspects of technology boils down to parents not in code doing their work well, like lack of parental control, controlling properly what their children are watching.
Yes. I remember quite back in Ghana, I had a client. So I installed there was a simple extension, Google Chrome extension I installed for him, and he could control what the child searches, or he can know what exactly the child is searching, even when he's not at home. The websites visited, um, what they watched online, even the computer can be locked for specific days. Even though you have internet connection, you cannot browse. So it can be locked for like specific days, specific time frame. So let's say, for example, if it's Monday from 12 to 2, that is the only time you have access to browse online. You might have internet connection on the laptop or the desktop, but you cannot browse. So parental control exists, but a lot of parents are ignorant of this. When I say ignorant, I don't mean they are not educated enough or they haven't been to school before. It's just that they lack the existence of these control measures. They lack the awareness. Yes, they lack the awareness of the existence of what these control measures, where technology has come to stay. So why not use technology to what uh, maximize, like your presence even when you're not there. So using parental control features on devices that you've bought for your child when you are there and when you are not there tells the child that the parents really would care about what they do online. So this is very, very important for parents to be very much aware of what the children are consuming. At the age of 50, at the age of 40, 30, 35, 55, you don't really want to sit and watch cartoons with your kid. You don't want to really, it's as if you don't care because they're children. It's yes, but this plays a very major role in what their early childhood development. Even at my age, if you
Okay.
ask me, uh what is my favorite, let's say, cartoon, I will tell
TV
you
show.
Transformers. No, 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 Transformers. And I used to watch a cartoon also called Super Strikers. It's a football based, and then I can still quite remember some Tom and Jerry. We all watched Tom and Jerry. Not my favorite, but there were there were other cartoons which though I watched, I would love for my children to watch because they are not super 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 educative. Neither are they like super super like negative. Like sometimes you just need to like feed off their eyes and be okay. But when you allow them to watch, it means that you need to really know what they are watching, what kind of content they are feeding in.
Okay, so I have this question. Now we
Mhm,
have different groups of parents and then what they think about this technology thing. Now we
mhm,
have this group who think no screen time, so they don't
mhm.
expose their children to any kind of screen activities.
Screens.
Do you think, yeah, do you think such children will be disadvantaged or at a point in their development they will catch up?
Um, that's a very good question. When we started the show, I mentioned that um, every technology has advantage and disadvantage, and likewise the application and the usage has advantage and what disadvantages. Before I answer that question, let me use the social media we are using today as a case study, Facebook to be precise, because it's one of the oldest social media channels alive today. When Facebook started, it was all about what family and friends, right? So
Mhm.
everybody, like it's just nobody knew Facebook. The masses, to be precise, never knew Facebook would ever come up with a business model where you can put your business on Facebook and just with $5, more than 10,000 people can what see your business
Yeah.
from different countries across the globe, right? But this came as a result of what innovative thinking, uh, demand, and also the future of what technology, right? So coming back to the question, to an extent, it can have a negative impact. My mom, as till now, doesn't know how to use WhatsApp. She's not on Facebook. It's my kid sister who opened a Facebook account for her. If I see my mom online on WhatsApp, I know it's my kid sister. I know it's not my mom. She prefers to use the small Nokia phones to answer calls, send text messages, call customers, receive calls, and that's it. Why? Not because she's not educated enough to put interest, but for her, it's a new innovation. And she sees herself like, okay, I'm like old enough, like these things looks like it would take time for her to really understand the application and the use of what these technologies. Likewise, there are age groups, same as my mom, and people who are even maybe 15, 20, 30, 40 years older than my mom, and they are on Facebook very active, right? So there will always be these
TikTok.
groups. Exactly. So there will always be this group of people who will either still be in technology as the future grows, or people who will be more disadvantaged, right? Now, what we are experiencing is new, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain. Even as a technology person, I'm trying to keep up, because I don't want in the near future when my kids are talking to me about blockchain, I'll be like,
What's
no,
that?
it's because exactly something else might come up, after blockchain. Nobody knows. F- 10, 15 years ago, nobody knew like something like blockchain will exist. I mean, when I say nobody, I mean the masses, to be precise, because these technologies only come out, for the mass consumption when it's been tested, and still it has passed what we call the early adoption stage. Because every new technology that comes out, we have the adoption stage. People who always like to try it first. There are people who will be like, okay, if it's safe, then we can now also try it. And there are people who will never until it's almost fading out. And they're like, oh, we didn't even know something like this existed, right? So some of these children who have absolutely no screen time, or way less screen time, um, in the near future, yes, it has a potential of affecting knowledge-wise, also understanding the technology itself, the application. So you can miss, just by not reading the news, in 2 minutes, you might miss a whole bunch of information for the next 10 years. So it has a tendency of affecting the children as they develop. But to the degree it will affect them, I cannot say, because every child is different. Some might learn
Different.
as they go on, and some might never, because the foundation of the basics were never, like strong enough for them to even be curious to say, okay, let me venture into this and see what it's all about.
Wow. And with these video games, does it make the children smarter or it's just for fun?
Video games in the early days were just for fun, but now the whole internet industry, let me use the term internet, because now everything is online. Everything has changed. So there are a lot of games right now that you play, and you get rewarded when you pass specific difficulty levels. Some you could withdraw these points in physical cash. You could redeem some of these points in specific stores. You can use some of these points to buy items, and they will be shipped, to your address, depending on which country you are based in, and the type of game that you're playing. There is worldwide competition on games right now. Um, you have multiple players winning uh, more than $100,000 just to be able to finish, as a first runner up, second or third runner up. So before, games used to be fun, but now the gaming industry has changed, the internet industry has changed. So every piece of content on the internet right now has a potential of being monetized, whether it's video, whether it's audio, whether it's visuals, whatever it is on the internet right now. It has a potential of being monetized, depending on the business model which it was released on. Games can be released for fun, let's say in the early stages of adoption, where they are trying to create the brand awareness. But in the stage two, they have a business model where they take your money, they ask you to buy points, and you can also win points. And these points you can withdraw them. So it's two-sided coin right now. Before, it used to be more for fun, with the exception of football, rugby, and the other, like physical games, which has been like all-time paying sports. But virtual games, uh, one of the most popular ones used to be Nintendo. And then after Nintendo, we had Game Boy, Game Boy Advance. It's still by Nintendo. No, Before Nintendo, there was Sega. From Sega to Nintendo, that's based on my experience. Then in Ghana, I think we had also Family.com. After that, Xbox, no, PlayStation became very popular, and then Xbox. So there has been like a huge change in the gaming industry, where before it used to be to, like have fun, relax yourself, just, for the fun of, like family and friends. And also back then, there used to be limitations because, for example, you need to always buy the latest model of cartridge or CD to play what the new
Okay,
releases.
okay.
But, yeah, but now just by tapping the button, you can unlock difficulty what or more advanced stages, and you just at some point have to pay, let's say, a minimal fee, maybe like $5, $10, $20, depending on the type of game and how interesting it is. Because we have different categories of games like action games, adventure games, racing games, uh, soccer, boxing, like different. So yeah, back to the question. It used to be more for fun, more for entertainment, but um, with the evolution of technology, every content on the internet, either on a mobile device, a desktop, laptop, tablet, has a potential of being monetized. No,
Sorry, I was muted. So, for our
mhm,
children, what impact
mhm.
does technology have on them?
What when you say
The
impact, you
positive
mean more
impact.
negative
We've
or
talked a
more
little bit
positive
about
impact?
the negative.
Uh-huh,
No, we've
yeah.
we've talked a little bit about the negative. So, the
Mhm.
positive impact,
Okay.
please.
Yes. One of the good things about technology is that with $1 data, you can learn something which might take you 50 years to learn in the shortest possible time frame, in less than 5 minutes, in less than 2 minutes. They can with $1 data, you can have access to a whole collection of books. You can have access to huge chunk of knowledge base, multiple industries. Uh, you virtually have no limitation, right? Um, for children, um, it's good for them because they have access to not just their physical classroom, but also other curriculums which are not inclusive in their what day-to-day schooling curriculums. So there are ed tech or education technology which is based on specific type of what uh, curriculums, because every country has their own, like teaching standards. So one of the positive side is that it exposes them to what multiple and different forms of syllabus, advanced, like learning, um, advanced learning modes, where even just by playing specific type of game, it teaches them, like how to spell, how to pronounce certain alphabets without the help of the parents, private tutor, or the teacher from the school. Um, it can make them see the world from a different perspective. It makes them learn faster as well, because what happens is that usually when they're on some of these e-learning platforms, they are all by themselves. So it makes them think twice as compared to when they are what in the classroom, because some of the activities they have to perform are more what exciting. So at that point, their brain waves is in excitement mode. So the level of involvement, or the level of engagement on these e-learning platforms, like it can spike up. And just like in the gaming world, how you unlock different levels, it can unlock specific milestones, or like advanced level of what thinking and solving problems without the help of what the teacher, the parents, etc. um, One of the advantages is also safety. So in the absence of the
Mm-hmm.
parents, depending on the age of the child, let's say there is an event, there is a break-in, the child can easily call 911. uh,
Yeah.
Maybe also the child goes to the park with the parents, and he or she, like somehow get lost and they have a phone. They can easily what? Call their parents. And even sometimes parents can easily use what? GPS to track the child's position. Even in the absence of what? Some of these devices, some parents, make children memorize their phone numbers so that in the likely event someone asks you, do you have or do you know how to reach your parents? They can easily what? Mention, their phone numbers, and their parents will be reached using these devices. So yeah, safety wise, yes, these devices can keep the children very safe in case of unfortunate events where they can either call an ambulance, call the police, phone a family friend or an uncle or any other person, depending on what the situation or circumstance might present.
Okay. Thank you. I know that we can go on and on and on, but our time. Yeah. So, in a
Time is up
nutshell, what would
already.
be your advice to
Mhm.
parents? How do we strike the balance to create a safe space for children, like in terms of using tech devices? How can
Mhm.
parents strike a balance so that, I mean, we don't do it too much and then we make it also safe for the kids?
Okay. Before I answer that, I would say that the the introduction of technology has increased the responsibility of the parent, because you are no longer contending with yourself but with a device which is not human, right? So
Hmm.
this means that if you used to give your child an hour or two, let's say worst case scenario, right, and you now give them a device, it means that you need to give them what? Extra care, extra what? Attention. My
But
son
we
at
are
the age
doing
of
the
4,
opposite. We are
hold on.
doing the
Yes.
opposite of what you just said because we think that giving them the devices makes us free. We have our
Hmm.
free time to do our stuff. But you are also saying that giving them the devices means that we should give them extra time. So in the end, we don't win.
Yeah, exactly. So my son at the age of 4, he knows how to skip YouTube commercials. I don't like
Mm.
YouTube commercials. So of course, when the kid is watching the cartoons, anything that would distract them, they don't like it, right? And these commercials are not, like usually they are not meant for their consumption.
Mm.
So they don't really understand the content. But when he sees, let's say, other like game or cartoon commercials, he watches to what? To the end. But when it's non-related to, like what his brain can understand, he just what? Press what?
Mm.
Skip. So um parents need to give more time, more attention, um because the lack of that, you have to monitor what they're watching. Yes, so the lack of that might lead to unforeseen circumstances where they might pick up specific type of behavior which might be unhealthy for them, yourself, and they might eventually also take this to what? To school. And this could also create problems. So it's just like the pandemic, how we saw that globalization made everybody like shut down so fast. So the absence of just 2 minutes of your time, just supervising what they're watching, or just like cross-checking to make sure everything is okay, can make them pick up an attitude which they might even sometimes not display at home, but they might display it at what? At school, or when they are out with their friends. So yeah, more screen time means what? More parental what? Care. Is more screen time good? No. So to strike a balance, you always have to uh, protect the child. The child is number one, and the child comes first before the device, because um, it takes a lot of time to like make new babies and like bring new loving children into the world. So the child is what the priority. The device is not what the priority, because the device is what is not human, it's inanimate. So to strike a balance, yes. If you are giving the child more screen time, then you also need to be what available more time to check what they are watching, what they are consuming. Less screen time means what? Less time to also check what they are what consuming. So in a nutshell, yeah, technology is good, it's bad. It has two sides of what advantage and disadvantages.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. We've learned a lot today. Thank you, Marvelyn Arthur. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah,
Thank
Marvelyn,
you,
thank you for
viewers.
joining today. She was here last week also.
Yeah. Yes, I think today she came quite late.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, viewers. Hopefully, we will have you here another time to share more with us about children, technology, social media, and children. Now we see minors on
Mhm.
TikTok doing stuff. How can we
Yeah,
help these people? How can we control all these things? There's a lot to talk
yeah.
about children and technology. So, in the coming days, we will bring you back here to share more with us.
I'm always
Until then,
available.
yeah, if you have some final thoughts, final words, I would let you share with
All
us
right.
before we go.
Yeah, I mean, this subject is broad, but I try to keep it as short as possible because I don't want to dive so deep because of the time. Just 1 second. Um, so every parent out there who will see this video, whether watching live or after the live, um, every 2 minutes, every 3 minutes, every 1 hour, every 20, 30 minutes you spend with the child is very important. Don't neglect the child because you give them a device. Don't neglect the child because you think or feel they are comfortable and they don't need you when they are watching cartoons or playing games or spending time behind the screen. Um, Devices can always malfunction because it's technology. And you'll be surprised that the child you think is watching cartoons on YouTube is actually on Facebook scrolling reels. Yes, because sometimes they can always mistakenly press a button or press somewhere on the screen without knowing what the effect might be. So um, those 1 minute, 2 minutes of checkup time to make sure everything is fine. They are watching that specific cartoons that you chose for them because you know it's educative, it's healthy for them. It's very important. Don't ever neglect the children because they are behind the screens or you think they feel comfortable behind the screen. So yeah, and if I am
Thank
always
you.
available
Don't,
if anyone has any more questions. Can I drop my link on the comments?
of course, you can. Sure.
Yes. So if anyone has any questions regarding consultation for technology questions, um, they can always can I think I sent this. Yeah. They can always go on our website, um, book a call. Um, we can always give them an open consultation to uh, understanding, or if they have questions, to find solutions to some of these questions they have uh, they want answers for. So on the website we have a lot of things, but I don't want people to be confused. So it's just in two simple steps. When you're on the website, whether on the phone or on the laptop or desktop, when you just go on the contact us page, so we have two options. Either you leave us a message about what you are looking for, or you request a call back and tell us exactly what time you would like us to call you. And we will give you a quick call back, either for consultations, either for anything relating to IT. It doesn't matter where you're based in the world. We are fully remote as well. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
So the link is in the comment section. We have it's Miscom Agency, right?
yes, miscom.agency.
Dot agency. Okay. So
Yes,
check it out and then book a call or send them a message. All right. Thank you so much. And I wish you a happy new year. I hope this year brings every good thing that you hope for. See you next time.
definitely. All right.
Bye.
Thank you for having me on the show. Bye. See you.
Bye.